In this video, I wanted to see how far you can actually push Midjourney when the goal is creating something that could function as a logo. Not as a theory exercise, but as a practical experiment. What kinds of styles work, how to prompt for them, and what the steps look like if you want to turn a Midjourney image into a usable vector logo using free or open-source AI tools. I started by exploring Midjourney's style search with terms commonly associated with logo design, such as vector, Bauhaus, Swiss design, negative space, lettermarks, wordmarks, luxury, and futuristic. Some of these searches were immediately more promising than others. Styles tied to graphic design history or print traditions tended to produce cleaner geometry, stronger silhouettes, and more controlled compositions. More generic searches often looked convincing at first glance, but became less interesting once you thought about reduction or consistency. Style search works best here as a way to spot useful visual traits rather than finished solutions. From there, I narrowed things down to styles that emphasized clear shapes, consistent line weight, strong contrast, and minimal visual noise. Anything heavily reliant on texture, lighting, or illustrative detail was less useful for this experiment. What stood out was that the strongest results didn't necessarily come from styles labeled as logos. Instead, they came from styles that behaved well when simplified or imagined at small sizes. That selection step turned out to be just as important as prompting. I also tested Style Creator as a way to intentionally steer Midjourney toward more logo-friendly output. Instead of searching for named aesthetics, this approach focuses on training toward qualities like flatness, geometry, and visual restraint. I found that the Style Creator is a little bit difficult to direct towards a very specific-looking style. It kind of depends more on luck if you happen to get multiple logo-suitable styles on one page. Once I had a short list of promising styles, I combined them with more focused logo prompts. I used longer prompts than I usually have in my testing, but I tried to cover multiple different targets for logos. Now, let's take a look at the 25 styles to see if there's any generations that could actually be usable as logos. Afterwards, we'll take a look at what you should do next with your logo images. The style uses simplified, hand-drawn vector-like forms with clean, uniform line weight, flat fills, generous negative space, and restrained contrast. Minimal detail and soft geometric abstraction support clarity, making it well suited for logo use thanks to strong small-size legibility, easy monochrome translation, and reliable vector reproduction, with low over-detail risk and broad applicability across modern, friendly, or tech-adjacent brands. This style centers on bold, high-contrast, geometric construction with angular forms, parallel line motifs, and a tightly limited palette. Crisp edges and poster-like, quasi-constructivist abstraction prioritize structure over texture, resulting in excellent scalability, clear silhouettes, clean vector translation, and solid monochrome performance, though its assertive visual language favors brands comfortable with a strong graphic presence. Bold, solid silhouettes define this style, paired with sharp, angular geometry, strong black-white contrast, and selective internal cutouts or stripe patterns. Emphasis on negative space and shape hierarchy ensures excellent legibility at small sizes, immediate recognition, seamless monochrome and vector translation, and minimal over-detail risk, while its visual weight suits brands seeking an assertive mark rather than subtlety. Sharp geometric primitives are combined with neon gradients, glow effects, and layered translucency, creating high contrast on dark backgrounds with moderate detail density. While impactful at medium to large sizes, dependence on gradients and glow reduces monochrome viability and vector friendliness, making it better suited to digital-first logos than highly reproducible or print-focused marks. This style relies on stark, geometric silhouettes, extreme figure-ground contrast, and a tightly constrained two-colour palette. Bold, circular and angular forms with minimal internal detail and crisp edges deliver excellent small-size legibility, strong monochrome performance, and effortless vector translation. Though the palette-driven impact may limit flexibility for softer brand expressions. Simplified, rounded geometry with soft, organic contours defines this style, supported by flat fills, minimal line work, and low to moderate contrast within a muted pastel palette. It offers clean, gently illustrative abstraction and good vector compatibility, but reduced small-size legibility and weaker monochrome performance limit effectiveness for high-impact or highly scalable brand marks. Flat, simplified geometry and clean outlines are paired with limited internal detail and a vibrant but controlled palette. Clear silhouettes and minimal texture support scalability and vector use across digital and print contexts, though reliance on multiple colours and illustrative framing weakens monochrome strength and makes it less suitable for ultra-minimal or corporate systems. Organic, hand-drawn line work with variable stroke weight defines this style, using simplified symbolic geometry and restrained abstraction, often enclosed within circular or triangular forms. Strong monochrome performance, good small size recognition, and straightforward vector translation support logo use, while expressive line quality aligns best with artisanal, cultural, or heritage-oriented brands. Bold, flat silhouettes with crisp edges and strong figure-ground separation characterize this style. Built on a minimal two-color system with high-contrast circular backdrops and simplified cutouts. It scales exceptionally well, remains immediately recognizable at small sizes, performs reliably in monochrome or inverse, and translates cleanly to vector, making it ideal for modern, icon-driven brands. Rounded shapes, consistent medium-weight outlines, and simplified geometry define this style, supported by a warm, high-contrast palette and subtle illustrative accents. It offers good clarity and vector compatibility, but dependence on colour fills, outlines and framing reduces monochrome strength and small-size legibility compared to more symbolic systems. Soft painterly illustration with rounded contours, subtle gradients, layered shading, and a sticker-like outer stroke gives this style moderate detail density and low geometric rigidity. Reliance on colour and shading limits legibility at small sizes, monochrome use, and clean vector translation, making it better suited to decorative assets than scalable brand marks. Layered gradients, textured shading, and rounded contours define this soft illustrative approach, again anchored by a prominent sticker-like outline. Internal variation and gradient reliance reduce small-size clarity, monochrome viability, and vector reproducibility, favouring decorative or collectible applications over core logo systems. Simplified geometric forms are paired with soft volumetric shading and smooth gradients, creating clear silhouettes with moderate depth. While scalability and recognizability remain solid, reliance on gradients and tonal layering weakens monochrome performance and makes pure vector translation less robust than flat mark systems. High contrast metallic rendering, beveled geometry, and sculptural depth achieved through reflective highlights and realistic lighting define this style. Material effects and lighting direction limit legibility at small sizes, monochrome adaptation, and vector reproduction, positioning it as a premium embellishment rather than a primary logo mark. Bold, flat geometric construction with simplified silhouettes and a high-contrast palette dominated by bright primary hues creates clear hierarchy with minimal texture. Strong legibility, effective monochrome or two-color adaptation, and straightforward vector translation support logo use. Though playful color dependency suits informal, consumer-facing brands over restrained corporate identities. This style uses bold, flat shapes with clean edges, poster-like composition, and a tightly controlled palette. Strong figure ground separation and minimal texture deliver excellent scalability, clear silhouettes, reliable monochrome adaptation, and easy vector translation, though its distinctive graphic voice may dominate neutral brand systems. Bold, rounded geometry with consistent stroke weight and flat fills defines this style, paired with a high-contrast pastel neon palette. Simple icon construction ensures strong, small-size legibility, dependable monochrome reduction, and clean vector output, while the playful color system aligns best with modern, informal, or digital native brands. Ultra-minimal black and white silhouettes anchor this style, built on sharp geometric reduction and disciplined negative space with no texture or gradients. Exceptional small-size legibility, flawless monochrome performance, effortless vector translation, and minimal stylistic dependency make it broadly applicable across corporate and modern brand systems. Loose, hand-drawn monoline strokes with variable weight and informal geometry give this style a sketch-like quality with open forms. Expressive line work reduces consistency, precision, and small-size legibility, limiting scalability. But it can suit niche brands seeking a personal or artisanal identity. Extreme geometric reduction defines this style, using sharp modular forms, strict symmetry, and high-contrast black and white execution. Precise angles and disciplined negative space deliver outstanding legibility, perfect monochrome performance, and effortless vector translation, making it ideal for modern tech or institutional brands. Bold geometric construction with flat color fields and high-contrast poster-like layouts characterizes this approach, often dominated by saturated yellows, reds, and blacks. Strong silhouettes, reliable vector translation, and effective monochrome adaptation support logo use, though the assertive graphic language may feel overpowering for brands seeking subtlety. Flat, highly simplified geometric forms with crisp edges and minimal internal detail define this style, paired with a bold yellow, black and white palette. Clear silhouettes, strong legibility at small sizes, excellent monochrome adaptability, and clean vector translation support expressive, modern brands, more than conservative identities. This style combines bold geometric composition with extreme colour contrast, sharp edges, and minimal internal detail. While silhouette clarity and scalability work well in digital contexts, heavy reliance on saturated colour blocking reduces monochrome effectiveness and limits flexibility for print-constrained systems. Soft, volumetric forms with smooth gradients, subtle blur, and controlled lighting create moderate depth over simple geometry and warm colour fields. Core shapes remain legible and scalable, but gradient and blur dependence restrict monochrome use and clean vector reproduction. Clean, geometric simplification with flat colour planes, subtle shading, and high contrast blocking defines this style. Crisp edges and low detail density support scalability and vector use, though partial reliance on colour contrast reduces flexibility for strict monochrome or ultra-minimal brand applications. So, once you have a Midjourney image you like, the next step is turning it into a vector logo. For this experiment, I stuck to fully automatic tools that are free or open source. Tools like SVG Trace can convert an image straight into an SVG with no manual input. When the Midjourney output is flat and high contrast, the results are often surprisingly clean. There are also auto-trace-based tools which automatically detect edges and generate vector paths. These are useful for quickly checking whether a design holds up once it's converted to pure shapes. For very bold, silhouette-driven logos, pot race-based converters work especially well. They're fast, automatic, and ideal for designs built around negative space. The workflow is simple. Generate in Midjourney, upload the image, export an SVG, and see how well it survives the conversion. If the shapes stay readable and balanced, you're already close to a usable logo. The overall process ends up being fairly straightforward. Explore styles, constrain with intentional prompts, pick a strong result, and use AI vector tools to convert it into a scalable format. The interesting part is that, with the right choices, the gap between a Midjourney image and a usable vector logo is smaller than you might expect. That's really what this video is about. Not proving a point either way, but showing what's possible, what works best, and what steps are involved if you want to try using Midjourney as part of a logo creation workflow. You could even use some of the terms and prompts in other image generation tools as well, although I'm not sure how transferable the styles are, or if there's some style discovery options available. If you'd like me to take a look at some of the other AI image generators in my future videos, Let me know in the comments. Also, leave a like, do some hype, and I thank you so much for watching. Let's continue prompting.